Let's talk to Mark Lehane, Executive Head Teacher of the Wootton Academy Trust, former Special Advisor at the Department for Education. Mark, a very good morning to you.
Good morning.
A couple of things to pick up with you today. The Welsh Government apparently have been offering ethnic minority students £5,000 more in grants than their white counterparts training to become a teacher. It's all part of Welsh Labour's administration's anti-racist Wales action plan. These stories pop up from time to time. They're never a good idea, are they?
I think lots of your viewers and listeners will have a bit of concern about the fact that there's extra money to get people into teaching that's linked to someone's ethnicity. That's not something people do anything about. It's just what they are. I mean, on the one hand, anything we can do to get more people to come and teach in our schools, that's got to be a good thing. We know that's been really tough in recent years. Yeah. But my worry about this is it could backfire. The majority of people that live in Wales and train to teach in Welsh schools are of a white British background. We don't want to do anything that might put those people off going into teaching as well. It feels pretty unfair as well. And let's be honest, Welsh schools sadly have got much bigger fish to fry and much bigger things to worry about, because their standards in Welsh schools, as we've seen in international comparisons over the last 20 years, have collapsed. They've now got some of the worst performing schools in the United Kingdom, whereas England schools have focused on other things and risen up the international rankings. So I guess I'd be saying to the Welsh Government, think really carefully about where you're putting your money, and this is probably not the place to do it.
Yeah, exactly right. And I mean, I know that in Wales, I know people who live in Wales who moved there from England and suddenly found themselves being subjected to the Welsh Language Act, and their children had to learn Welsh. But I presume all the teachers don't have to learn Welsh before they teach, do they?
No, that's not my understanding, although there is a bigger bursary for people that want to train to teach and teach in Welsh medium schools. So again, the Welsh Government are entitled to do that. I would just argue with limited money for the public sector to spend, whether this is the best thing to do. They'd be better off focusing on things like training their teachers to teach phonics to all their children, particularly if you've got lots of children new to the Welsh school system from immigrant backgrounds where they don't speak English as their first language. There's better things they can do with their cash.
Yeah, exactly right. But also these kinds of policies, I mean, we saw something similar to this in the West Yorkshire Police this week, where they said that, they only want to recruit people who are from non-white, segments of the population, which of course is immediately put everybody's backs up and said, well, it's all very well if you want to have positive discrimination, nothing wrong with that, perhaps some might say, although if you take it too far, it's a bad thing. But why would you, if you had actually said we're going to block any applications for recruitment from ethnic minorities, there would be hell to pay. The fact that you can do it with regards to white people is wrong. And the same here, it just creates kind of division in society, doesn't it, which you don't need.
Well, the key thing is we want to make sure that we're recruiting people into all walks of life from a big variety of backgrounds as possible. We don't want anyone from any particular background thinking, oh, that job isn't for me, whether it's the police or whether it's teaching, because we want everyone to think about it. But we've got to be really careful that it doesn't backfire. And the last thing we want to do, particularly when we're a multi-ethnic society, the last thing we want to do is to divide people rather than focus on what we've got in common. And if I was looking at schools in Wales, there's a really exciting challenge there, which is improving standards. The last thing you want to do is put off a load of people from applying thinking that they're not wanted.
Yes, quite. And another one I wanted to talk to you about, a review of Cambridge's teaching methods, apparently, which wants to create a healthy work-life balance. They've decided that what they want to do is scrap the centuries-old tradition of telling students what their exam rankings are, because they think it might improve their mental health if they don't know.
Yeah, now I'm going to do the old git thing now. When I was graduated 25 years ago from there, that was in the days where they used to print out the results and stick them on a wall, so you could not only see what your result was, but what everyone else's result was and where you did against it. Now listen, no one goes to a top university expecting it to have an easy life. In fact, if we want people to go off to academically elite places, we want them to work hard. Yeah. We want them to make breakthroughs. But like you said, there is a balance to be had there. But let's not mollycoddle our youngsters. If you're going off to Oxford, Cambridge and top universities, you're going to work hard. Your work-life balance is going to be different. And if that's not for you, that's fine. But maybe other alternative places should be where you consider going. I know enough about student life, and I've got a couple of students of my own currently living occasionally with me. There's certainly not what you would call a culture of overwork in any place that they attend. I said to one of them once, how are you getting on? In the first year, I think he was there up in Manchester, and he said, oh, it's all right. He said, I don't always make all the lectures. And I said, how many have you got? And he went, 3. And I said, what, 3 a day? And he went, no, 3 a week. And I'm going... Yeah, I think what has changed, I think we've got to give the younger generation some credit. There has definitely been a positive side in recent years where not only are they working harder at school, but lots of them do have harder working habits. They are putting more hours in, maybe it's because of tuition fees. They are putting more hours in generally. That's what my academic friends tell me. But this idea that you can't know how you've done against other people because it will damage your mental health.
Yeah.
It's just not true. It's one of the things. The other thing is, if you go to one of these elite institutions at university, you've already had the big step up. You've already got a big advantage there. Whether you come top or middle or bottom of that year group, you're always going to have an advantage in life, and you can put that university on your CV when you can talk about the networks of friends that you've made there. So I think again, the most important thing we can do as adults, for those undergraduates, to say, just relax, chill about it. It doesn't matter where you come. That said, they are still going to be able to see where their ranking is. Invariably, lots of them will find out what their ranking is because they'll ask, because they'll want to know.
Right.
We want to know what we've done relative to our mates. So this feels like an interesting story on a quiet news week.
Well, yeah, surely, though, it's not a quiet news week. I mean, we haven't done one of those for years. But, I mean, surely the point about all of this as well is to prepare kids for the real world. And I know that the real world in recent times, post-COVID, has sometimes become a bit unreal. But, you know, they should be ready for disappointment. They should be ready to know that there's a guy sitting next to them or a woman sitting next to them who might be better than they are or cleverer than they are or smarter than they are. So they might have to work a bit harder. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that at all. And of course, the other really important lesson when you're at university is it actually probably doesn't matter whether you came 125th or 130th or whatever in a year group. Life goes on. Real life doesn't have rankings quite like that. It's not a bad lesson to learn.
Yeah.
That how hard you work will have an impact on how you do, but there will always be people that do better than you. And that's okay. It doesn't make you any less of a person. But you can't expect to go to an elite institution and not work really, really hard. Look, we grumbled about it when I was there 30 years ago, that there were other students from different countries that worked really hard to get bursaries to come, and they were in the library at all hours, and they made the rest of us look bad. You grow up and you realise that's all part of life's rich tapestry.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, Rachel Reeves came 26th in a chess competition and calls herself a chess champion. And she's now Chancellor of the Exchequer. So there you go. There's a lesson for all of us. Listen, good to talk to you. Thank you very much. Mark Lehane, sensible man, Executive Head Teacher at Wootton Academy Trust, former Special Advisor at the Department for Education.